Hello, hi, good evening, and a very warm welcome to all of you in today's webinar. We will allow a couple of minutes to the other participants who haven't joined yet to join in, and then we'll get started. So just bear with us for 2 minutes, and then we'll get started with the discussion. And there are a lot of interesting things that we would like to discuss with you. We are also joined here today by a FIEO official, Mr. Mukesh, who has taken time from his busy schedule, and he is here with us. So if there's any question related to regulation or compliance, etc., that you would want to get clarity on, so you're more than welcome to ask that question. And as we are waiting for the other participants to join in, we will discuss few important points. The most important one being how are we going to conduct today's webinar. So, okay, in the comment I saw, my voice is echoing. Mukesh ji, are you able to hear me properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're audible.
So, okay, so who did say that? So, Divya ji, there's a possibility that your device might be on a slightly higher level. So, because of that, you may be hearing the echo. Let me also remove this. So, otherwise, I've just checked. It is all good. And before starting the webinar, I've checked the audio. So, it seems to be working fine. Kindly check on that. Now, coming back to the point which I was trying to make to you, and that was how are we going to interact in today's session. So there are two tools that we will be using. One, I can see most of you have already started using, and that is chat, and that is something that we are going to use very extensively in today's session. The second tool that we are going to use is Q&A, and I would recommend that you should keep Q&A exclusively for questions. Because what will happen, and you can see that right away in the chat as well, that as the other participants are adding their comments, it keeps going up. And if you add a question here, then there is a chance that your question might get missed out, because like it will go up and I may not scroll that much up, or Mukesh ji may miss looking at it. Although we'll try our best to answer everything, whether it is in chat or whether it is in Q&A, but it will be more convenient for us, as well as it will eliminate any chance of accidentally missing out on the question. So that's a request. If you have a question, please add it in the Q&A. And chat is something that we are going to use in today's session more extensively. Now, before we start moving ahead, a lot of participants ask this question, like, will we get the recording of the webinar? Yes, absolutely, you will get the recording immediately after the end of the webinar. We will send you an email with the recording. However, if you want to access it right away, like you don't want to wait till the end of the webinar, you want to access it right away, in that case, you can see my name tag. It must be somewhere here. That's GlobalLinker. So just go to YouTube, search for GlobalLinker, and that's where you'll find our channel. And there are a number of playlists. So you have to look for live, and there you will find the recording of today's webinar. So if you want to access it, you can do that. And that's where my colleague Supriya has shared the link of our YouTube channel. So I would also request you to kindly subscribe to that channel, because a lot of informational content, especially around digital visibility and growth, we keep on adding. So that's where it will be beneficial if you subscribe to that channel. All right, so this is where I believe I have spoken enough, and I would now formally start the webinar. And I would like to start the webinar by welcoming Mukesh ji, who is here. So, Mukesh ji, a very warm welcome to you
Good
for
evening, sir.
taking
Go,
out time and participating in this webinar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Good evening,
So,
good evening to all participants, sir. Good evening.
thank you, Mukherjee. Now, this is for the reference of all our attendees and participants. Mukesh is an official of the Federation of Indian Export Organizations, which is a premier export promotion body by the Government of India. And he has a vast experience in aspects related to export. So if you have any question related to regulatory compliances, licensors, or anything else related to exports, you can ask that question. Now, how will you ask that question? So for that, I would recommend that you use the tool Q&A, and we'll try to keep the Q&A tool open. And that's where I think one of the participants has already added a question there. So you put that question there, and we will dedicate about 15-20 minutes towards the end of the webinar, and we will answer all your question. If it is possible for me to accommodate that question during my presentation, I'll do that. But if it is not possible, then we will for sure answer that in the end. So this is where we will get started with today's discussion. Let me just move the chat and Q&A to the other monitor so that it is easier for me to keep an eye on it. And this is where we will get started. So just allow me a quick second to start presenting my screen. Now, while I'm doing that, I will very quickly introduce myself. And this is where I would share a personal experience as well. So, some time back, not long ago, about a week, 10 days ago, I attended a course, and it was presented by like a very renowned speaker, and it was about a management topic. But uh, mostly as a speaker, I am sitting on this side where I am passing on the information. And after a very long period of time, I was actually an attendee, and I was at the receiving end. I was listening instead of speaking in that session. And that was a very insightful experience. Whatever that business coach taught, obviously, that added value. But as a participant joining there, and what I realized that this is where it is also important that you get the information as quickly as possible, because when I was attending that webinar for almost like first 30-35 minutes, the person only spoke about themselves and all that. I was extremely bored. Like, I was there to learn something, and I was just listening to the story. So that's where what I will try to do is I will straight away jump onto a very important topic, and which is very, very important for every B2B business, irrespective like whether you're exporter or not. But as all of us are related to export, so that is something which is very crucial, very important. So I will start with a story very quickly, and then we'll straight away go to Indian Business Portal and start discussing the topic, and we'll try to stay as focused as possible. So that's where, let's see how much I'm able to deliver on that, but I'll try my best. And this is where I will quickly start introducing myself without taking like 30 minutes. So name is Adnan. I'm Director Digital Commerce at GlobalLinker, and I have about 20 years of experience in digital and technology, and I love to talk about that. So that's where for almost past 6-7 years, I had been doing training workshops, webinars, seminars in India and other countries. And what I had realized many years ago, that digital and technology, yes, it is something which is evolving, and there are newer things happening, etc. But the biggest gap when it comes to a business using technology is knowledge, and it is still there. It is not like we have been able to bridge that gap. It is still there, and that's why I continue to do as many sessions as possible, because the more we are able to bridge this knowledge gap, the information gap, the more businesses will be able to use or effectively use digital and technology, and they'll be able to grow their business. So as part of that endeavor, I had been able to do more than 500 such sessions and workshops in different countries, and had the wonderful opportunity of sharing a little bit of knowledge about digital and technology with about 19,000 businesses in different countries. So that is a quick introduction about myself. I will share my contact details with all of you, and all of you are more than welcome to personally reach out, connect, and interact with me. And this is where we begin our session. And once again, good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you in today's session. Now, I did say to you that I will be trying to be as focused as possible, and I understand all of you are here to understand about Indian business portal. Then why am I showing you this handloom artisans image? And let me just close this one also. But before that, I've started presenting my screen. I can see that the screen is visible in on the other monitor, but still, it will be great. It will be amazing if someone from the audience can confirm that you are able to see my screen. All right. So thank you for confirming that you're able to see the screen. And because a lot of participants have confirmed, so I can't name you and thank you individually, but thank you, all of you, for confirming that. Now, this is where we will very quickly go through a interesting story, and I'm doing that deliberately because there is a very, very important topic that I wanted to touch with you before we jump on to the Indian business portal related discussion. And it is just few slides that you have to bear with me. So this is how this story goes. So many, many years ago, there used to live a very, very skilled artisan called Arvind. And he was tremendously skilled. He was very good at weaving. He was very good at stitching. And the clothes that he made were literally amazing. But this particular person had this believe that my art, my work is so amazing that customers should come to me. They should form a line outside my workshop, and I don't have to be in the main market. I don't have to be present where the other shops are, and I don't have to popularize myself. I don't have to put a signboard, etc. Nothing, totally stealth, right? As the Gen Z call it. So that was his psychology. Now, what happened? The kingdom where this particular artisan lived, Arvind, uh, they had a king who was very fond of dressing up nicely. So his birthday was coming, and he just went to his wardrobe and he realized that he didn't had any unique dress. All the dresses that he had in his wardrobe, hundreds of them, they were all something that he had worn previously, or they were of a style which was very common. It is only that he had a more embellished version of those dresses, and the other uh, nobles in his kingdom were also wearing something similar. So it was not like it was a very unique dress that he's wearing. So that made him little angry that despite being the king, I don't have a unique dress and I want something unique for my birthday. So that's where he instructed his servants that you should go to nook and corner of my kingdom, find a artisan and make him make a unique dress for me. So his vision or his requirement that I wanted something unique, totally something which no one has worn in my kingdom, something really, really unique, or something which other nobles which are there in my court are not wearing. So that's the instruction he gave. And then the servants, because they were not sure what should we do, because they knew the good artisans who used to live in their own city, so they knew their name and they had worked with them previously, but they were not sure because King has explicitly told them you cannot go to these people, you have to find someone totally new and get my dress made. So that's where they went to the minister, who was very, very knowledgeable, and asked him. So minister pointed out that you should go to this city called Surajpur. So that's where they set out, and Surajpur was little far away, so they had to road through the night, etc. But despite all their efforts, they reached Surajpur at night. So the entire town was already closed. There was no one there, but they found a eatery which was still open. So they went there, had their food, and they asked the eatery owner that we are looking for very good artisans, and we have heard that Surajpur has very good artisans, and you have a very unique art form of dressing. So can where can we find these artisans? So that's where that eatery owner told them that you should be going to this particular street that we have. It is called the Poshak Street or Poshak Gully, and you should go there and you will find all the artisans, all the good artisans there. And that's where, because these servants were under tremendous pressure and they obviously had to complete the task within a deadline, otherwise, their head was on stake. So that's where they, without wasting any time, they immediately went to Poshak Street, at least to check where it is and see if there's anyone available there. So obviously, it was night and the entire Poshak Street was deserted, but they just strolled through the street, and that's where they noticed that there were literally hundreds of shops there, but many of the shops had very beautiful and elegant signboards, and that made them realize and decide that it is not practically possible for us to go to each of the shop and then talk to them and get the work contract or evaluate them. So let's do this. Let's see which of these shops have the most elegant signboards, because they appear to be the ones who are doing good. So let's look for these shops with the signboard, and in the morning we'll come and we'll talk to these guys and we'll then decide and give the order. So that's exactly what they did. So in the next morning they came, immediately started talking to the people, and that's where they decided and gave the contract to one of the artisans who had a very fancy and nice looking signboard. So that's where the contract was given, and then that particular artisan started working on it and worked tirelessly. Palilio or Arvind was working in his workshop, obviously making dress, but not for the kings, but for the ordinary folks. Uh, After a few days, as committed by that artisan, the delivery date was there. The entire caravan came, and because it was a historic moment, because that was the first time a dress for the king was being made and delivered from their city. So it was a phenomenal moment for them. So the entire city was there. Our Arvind was also there in the crowd, and he witnessed the dress being delivered by that artisan to the king, and it was like a once in a lifetime opportunity that that person got, despite the fact that our Irwin was a better artisan. He had a better command on loom. He had everything, making him the first choice, but he didn't get that opportunity. The caravan went to the king's palace. He liked the dress, and Arvind went back to his affairs. So here the question is, why did I tell you the story, or why did I took 5 7 minutes of your precious time explaining this story? And this is a historical story. Many of you may be thinking, like, why is he wasting our time, and what does it has to do with the Indian business portal? Why I took the liberty of taking your valuable time is because now all of us, including your buyers, have these servants. And these servants are the AI tools. And there are specialized AI tools also available in case you are not familiar for procurement. So this is where now, similar to how that king gave the command to the servants that find this supplier or find this artisan, similarly, your buyers are also using these modern technology slaves, or not slaves, servants, for finding you. And that's where the question comes, how ready we are. So that's where, uh, just to further elaborate on the story. So now the Maharaja has become our procurement managers and procurement heads. The servants are transformed into the AI algorithms and AI systems. The wooden signboards are your digital architecture and your search and schema and etc. etc. Now the ancient Irwin has now transformed into a modern exporter. So that is the transformation that has happened with the technology, but the challenge still remains. Now, this is a question for all of you, and this is where previously in one of my webinars, I've used polls, but I'm not going to do that. So there's a question for all of you that for AI systems to understand your business and products clearly and not popularly, properly. Sorry for the fumble. So, if AI systems have to understand your business and products, what is the source? What is the primary source of information, whether it is social media, directories, listing websites, Google My Business, your website? What is the primary source? Chat that in the chat or give your answer in the chat. So I can see a lot of you are spot on. Yes, the primary source and the emphasis is primary. Everything else that is here, they are all secondary. Many of you in the chat are saying social media. No, that is secondary. Your directory listings, wherever you are listed, they are all secondary. Google My Business is secondary. Primary is always your website. Now, that leads to the second question. And I'm just moving a little quickly through the questions so that we have enough time left for the other topics as well. So, the second question that I want to ask all of you is, does having a website guarantee that AI systems can understand your business clearly? That's where give your thoughts. And I am happy that most of you are spot on that no, it does not. Having a website is no guarantee that AI systems can understand you. And this is where I would want to leave you with a hard reality that most of the website that are made, and this is where I'm not just talking about the website which were made 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, even the websites which are being made today are not made keeping AI into perspective. They're all made for human beings. That's the challenge. If a website was made traditionally, obviously it was not made. Like 5 years ago, there was no AI. 3 years ago, even AI was very nascent. So that's where the thought or the objective was not to ever create anything for AI. So that's why the traditional websites, obviously, they are not built for AI. But the sad reality is that even today, the websites which are made few days ago, I reviewed a website by a gentleman, and he got the website made just 2 weeks ago. Just 2 weeks ago. And the website was far from the website was built in such a way that it will never become AI recommended. It had so many gaps in it. So that's the reality. Now, this is where I can imagine that if you had been receptive of what all story I told you and the questions that we are discussing, that would have ignited a question in your mind that where do I start today? Right? So that's where I can help you. So now I am going to start a poll. So just give me a quick second. Where is the poll option? Yeah. So I am going to launch a poll. Now, this is where all you have to do is to type in your website link and submit the poll, and I will review it. I will make a 2-minute recording of my review and I'll share it with you. And that's where I will tell you unbiasedly, do you have issue or you don't have an issue? Or if there are minor issues, I can tell you like fix this content, fix that content, and you can know. So I'll do a very quick review, look at it and let you know where do you stand so that you don't have confusion. At least because knowing that there is a problem is the first step of solving a problem. As long as you're not aware that there is a problem, you can't solve it. So that's where I'm here to help you with that. And that's where you have the survey live, and I can see only 25% of you, and I can see few of the participants have added the link in the chat. I would request that you should be all right. So I was just reading. So I was just reading a comment that there is some connectivity issue. Let me just quickly check on my speed because I operate on a high speed connection, and you are right. There is a drop which is there, but it is still good enough. I am still on 100 Mbps, which should be, but at this moment we don't have much of an option here. So, all right, the poll is open and we'll move ahead, and I'll keep this open so you can fill it. I don't have to keep waiting for it. Well, I'll close it when we stop the screen share. And this is where now we are moving ahead. Now, this is something which I don't have to explain. This is important for exporters because this is where your customers are extensively using AI. In fact, all of us are using AI. This presentation is also made by AI. All the visuals were also made by AI, right? So that's where you can imagine it is extensively used, and that's the future. It is adding productivity, and in fact, there are organizations which are forcing the use. So that's where we have to be ready. There's no second choice. And that's why I shared this entire story with you. Now, very quickly moving on to Indian Business Portal. And this is where uh, we are now starting the topic that we are all gathered here. So, very quickly, what is Indian Business Portal? So, Indian Business Portal is a platform which helps Indian exporters connect with international buyers. And the objective of this particular platform is firstly to help Indian exporters establish their digital presence. And this is where a lot of people hate me, but will still make that statement that unfortunately a sad reality uh, that is there with us. And this is where, when I'm saying with us as a country, as a business community, to be more precise, is that many of our businesses, or if we have to be a little more critical, most of our businesses don't have digital presence. And that's where I am sure many of you may be knowing really good manufacturers, artisans, or businesses who have like really good product. They have nice offerings, but they don't have any digital presence. Like forget about having presence on the internet. Many of them don't even have an email ID. So we have that challenge. Now, what Indian Business Portal aspires to solve is that these businesses at least can be found online. And there are different levels of digital presence that you can create. I'll try to share those as well. So a very basic one, and then you can have an advanced one, which is a full-fledged feature-packed website, etc. So you can create all that. So that's one challenge that Indian Business Portal is aspiring to solve. The other challenge is making you accessible, easily accessible to international buyers. So the challenge is not just at your end that you are every day searching for buyers and trying to connect with them and trying to do business with them. The challenge lies at the buyer's end also. And the more convenient it is for them to find you, the more easily they'll be, or the more they'll be doing business with you. And that's where Indian Business Portal tries to solve that. So it is solving the international buyers challenge in easily finding you and doing business with you. At the same time, it is solving your problem also, that is connecting you with international buyers. So that is, in simpler words, the objective. Now, who has created business? This is a very common question that we get. So there are two organizations who have created Indian Business Portal. One is the Federation of Indian Export Organization, also popularly known as FIEO, an apex export promotion body by the government of India. And the second organization is GlobalLinker, which I am not sure many of you may not have heard of. So it's a technology ecosystem that helps businesses in going digital and growing digital. So we help businesses establish their digital presence and then use our digital technology solutions to grow their businesses. So two organizations have come together and established Indian Business Portal. Now, uh, what are the key takeaways or features for you? So all of you get an access to a digital storefront. You have buyer discovery, RFQ system, global visibility, free listing. Yes, all of you can list your products on Indian Business Portal absolutely free. There are no charges, and you also get a digital catalog. I'll try to show you that as well. But more importantly, this is where very quickly I would want to walk you through the ecosystem. So, firstly, how are you going to list? So you will create your catalog or you'll list your product on Indian Business Portal. So you'll sign up, upload your product, and then list them on Indian Business Portal. So that's the process. Now, what are the islands of opportunities that are there for you? So the first island of opportunity is the Indian Business Portal, wherein FIEO constantly puts in effort and invites international buyers onto Indian Business Portal. So that's where you have an island of opportunity, because that's where if you are on Indian Business Portal, you'll be found by international buyer, or there are other methods also. I'll explain those a little later. So that's one. Second is because now you have your own digital presence, so that's where you can now do marketing effort and bring in international buyers onto your website and convert them into inquiries. The third is you are becoming a part of a community that has members from 150 country, more than 3 and 450,000, more than 4.5 lakh businesses. So that's where you can do business networking with them, send them connection requests, try to connect with them, and explore if they have a requirement for your product or service offering, or they know someone who may have. So that is something you can also do. So there are three islands of opportunities, and I will try to touch upon all of them. Now, this is where I will now minimize this presentation, and we'll straight away go to Indian Business Portal, and the rest of the discussion we will do on the live website. So the first topic that we covered related to Indian Business Portal is more about introduction, who created it, etc., etc. Now, more importantly, and this is where I feel that all of you are more interested in this one, I will talk about how you can list your business and products on Indian Business Portal, but I'll do that later. I have bored you enough. So this where the real important stuff that you are all interested, like how will business happen here. All right. So there are multiple methods using which business is done on Indian Business Portal. I will start with something which is visible on our screen as well, and you must be thinking like, what is visible, where is it? So this where you can see there's this option called post buying request. This is that one option. Now you must be thinking, post buying request, how is it related to export or sales? This is an option which your buyers, your potential customers use to express their requirement, because a lot of time international buyers, they don't want to get into that effort of going and looking into the profiles of 10, 20, 50, 100 exporters and then deciding I would want to work with them, etc. So they want, okay, this is what I want to import from India, whosoever can supply that, please connect with me. So that's where that's one approach that they take. Now, this is one method or one channel through which they share that. There are other channels also. So a lot of time they approach the Indian embassy in their country. So, for example, if they're, let's say, in France, so the Indian embassy in France, they'll approach that, the Indian embassy, and then express that this is what we are trying to import from India. And then the Indian embassy will connect them with FIEO. FIEO being the largest export promotion body. So the requirements will be passed on here. And then after scrutinization, after evaluation, those requirements are then presented here. Or a lot of time, because FIEO is, as I've already told, a premier export promotion body. So that's where there are a lot of international buyers who are personally in touch with FIEO officials. So a lot of time they personally share their or express their requirement that this is what we are wanting to import from India. They are also after scrutinization displayed here. So there's where you can see these requirements. Now these requirements keep coming and going from time to time. So you shouldn't feel like only two are there. So they keep coming and going from time to time. Now, how does this entire process work? So I've told you how the requirements are received. So there are multiple methods: post buying requirement, or through what do you call, sorry, through embassies, and through direct interaction with few officials. So whatever the channel may be, after little due diligence, they are presented here. Now, once they are presented, they are live for a particular period of time. So during that period, as an exporter, you are required to submit your requisition. This is where you don't have to submit a quotation. This is where you are expressing your interest. This is a expression of interest that I will be interested in supplying this product. So you have to submit your expression of interest. Quotation, etc., happen in a second stage, not at this moment. So this is where, but you should understand the requirement. It is not like without understanding the requirement, just looking at the visual. Okay, power tool, I can make this one. Now you assume that the person has a requirement for a drill machine because that's something you can supply. But that person had a requirement for, let's say, a heat gun, which you can't supply. So you shouldn't, it shouldn't happen that when you are sitting across with the client, that's where you are realizing that you can't fulfill that requirement. And it has unfortunately happened also in the past that one of the exporter who has submitted the requirement realized, okay, I may not be able to fulfill the requirement. And you can understand that is not a very impressive situation for us as a country. So that's where sincere request that before submitting that response, just understand the requirement. All right. Now coming back to the process. So the requirement is published here. You are required to submit a response before a deadline. You have submitted the response. Then what happens? So it goes through a scrutinization process. Now you must be feeling little irritated by now. What is this scrutinization thing happening? Even when the requirements are coming, you are scrutinizing, and when the requirements are going out or responses going out, again you are scrutinizing. What is this bureaucratic thing? It is necessary. The first level due diligence, the first level scrutinization or due diligence happens so that FIEO is able to ensure that these are relevant requirements. There shouldn't be something where you are investing your time and you're realizing that is not relevant. So that is there. The second level scrutinization is done to, again, protect ourselves, our image as a country. uh, we understand there are these elements, anti-social elements, we can call them. It has happened in the past that some of those elements had added wrong inputs in the response, and thankfully it got detected before it was shared with international buyer. But after that, FIEO has introduced a thorough scrutinization process. Obviously, it will be a very embarrassing situation, especially coming from one of the largest body of government of India, right? So you can imagine how embarrassing it would be. So that's where FIEO had to introduce two-stage scrutinization. One is a AI-led scrutinization, so all the responses are scrutinized by AI, and the second is a human scrutinization. So both of them happen, but they don't take like million years. In 2 to 3 days, FIEO's team does that, and then they are shared with the international buyer. Now, once they are shared with international buyer, they take 1 or 2 weeks, depending on like how busy or how available the client is, or how quickly they would want to do. Some of them may come back within a day or two also. So that's where what they will do is they'll go through the entire responses by all the exporters who have submitted, and then they will identify that these are the exporters we would want to now move on to the next stage. Now, that's where how will you know that you are shortlisted or not? So, there also buyers take different approaches. Many of them will come back to FIEO requesting that these are the suppliers that we have shortlisted. Can you please schedule meetings with them? It will be great that if you can also be there in the discussion, it will help us. So, in that case, few officials will reach out to you and coordinate a meeting with you. It will be a meeting facilitated by FIEO. So that is one approach. A lot of times they will also directly call. So if they don't want to keep FIEO or they don't want to keep bothering FIEO, so in that case, many of them directly also approach that, hey, we have received your response and we are looking to import this product. When can we connect? And that's where they will directly talk to you. They will directly schedule a meeting with you. So that's the second approach that buyers take. The third approach is, and it is a little interesting, but it has happened a few times. So that's why I'm sharing. So in this third approach, they will share the list with FIEO that these are the exporters that we have shortlisted, but they'll not ask FIEO to schedule that meeting. They'll simply tell that these are the exporters that we have shortlisted. Now, can you ask them to connect with us? So FIEO will share the buyer's contact details with you and ask you to contact them directly. So that's the third approach which buyers sometimes take. So that's how the entire journey happens. Now, what happens next? So that's where you will meet the buyer face to face. They'll elaborate on the requirement. You'll discuss all and get answers to all your question, and they'll move. You will move to the quotation and all that deal finalization stage. So that's how it happens. Now, sometimes it also happens that the buyer is not able to decide for whatever reason. So in that case, FIO will seek their permission. Because this is where we are bound by the privacy laws. We can't publicly display their contact detail, despite the fact that we have their contact detail, but we can't, and they are encrypted, by the way. So we can't publish them. But once they have given the permission, that's where those contact details are shared with the people who have submitted the response. It will not be like we will make that public. Obviously not. It will be shared with the people who had expressed their interest in fulfilling that requirement. So it will be shared with them. All right. So that's how the process works. I hope you got the gist of it. Now, a question which gets asked that, and quite often it gets asked, not just in my webinars, also in our help desk, on our help desk. And that question is like, by when can I expect to get a response? So there's no, or there's no absolutely precise answer to it, right? Because it varies like how quick the buyer is and all that. But on an average, you should assume, right? Psychologically, if you have to assume a higher boundary, so 3 to 4 weeks is something that you should assume that within 3 to 4 weeks, I will get a response, right? So this is one of the method which is there for you to get business on Indian Business Portal. Now, when before I move on to the next method or process, there are 2 points I would want to share. Or in fact, it is one point I would want to share it for 2 questions. So when you will click here to submit the response, a form will open up. Now, on that form, most of the fields are informational fields, which means you have to just provide information about your company, your IC code, etc., etc. There are 2 questions there, and that is related to your experience and your capabilities. Now, what we have observed, and I keep saying this in almost all my webinars, and if there are participants who had previously attended the webinar, they must be hearing it for uh, possibly hundreds of time. But it is very important because this is something which we have seen personally, and you may find it Little hard to believe or amusing, but that is a reality that many businesses are not just the startups and the first one they didn't had the experience and that's why they did this mistake. Even the businesses who had been there in the trade for a decade or more, we have seen them made this mistake. So in the question where it is asking that what is your experience of exporting this particular product, they have written yes, we have experience. Now through those three words, how will international buyer evaluate you? It is not going to evaluate you. It is going to sideline you. So that's where you have to be elaborate. You have to be detailed. And I'm not recommending you to write an essay there, but at least 2 to 3 paragraphs detailing about your capabilities and how you will be adding value. You should be adding there, right? Both in capabilities and experience. Now, a lot of time when I make this statement, a counter question, and I am surprised why it hasn't landed in the chat by now, but a lot of time in almost every webinar, the moment I made this statement that you have to be detailed about your experience, there's a question in the chat. We are startups, we don't have experience. What should we do? Let me answer that. So that question, the answer is firstly, you have to be absolutely honest. Don't think of lying there because in today's day and age, let's be realistic, it is very easy to find everything. In fact, for international business where they are going to put big money on you, they can easily hire an agency and who can do the investigation. So it is very easy to find out where do you start. So be honest, and there will be some value that you'll be adding, right? Just imagine, close your eyes for a moment and think that you are in an exhibition, you have invested your money, you have a stall there, and you are displaying your products. Now, there's a international buyer who walks in, he likes your product, he loves your product, and he wants to do business with you, and he makes or asks you a question: why should I do business with you? You are just a new company. You will respond to that, that this is something that we have, this innovative process that we have these quality control processes, etc., that we have in place to ensure that you are getting the finest quality, or I am sourcing from the manufacturer, from the market, from the farmer themselves, and ensuring the highest quality, and we are doing our tests, etc. Whatever is that story that you are going to tell, that's the same thing that you have to add here. All right. So that is the first process. And I have this tendency of being extremely detailed. And if you're feeling that I'm over explaining, apologies for that. I'm trying to treat this, I'm trying to be less explanative, but I think it will take some time trying to be there. All right. So now, very quickly, moving on to the second process, how the other business is done. This is one process that we saw. The second process is wherein the person uses the search, or let me just take a step back now. Think realistically, if someone, if an international buyer, not someone, if a international buyer has to source something from India, what will they do? They'll ask AI, they will go onto Google, or if they are familiar with Indian news portal, they'll come here. Now, if they are asking for AI or Google, they'll most probably land on the product detail page, right? So product detail pages are like this. This is some pure katana silk sari. So like that, they'll land on the product detail page. Now, once they have, or they will land here on a possibly category page. So there are multiple options. If they have landed on a product detail page, then sorry, wrong. So they can directly go to your profile. So for example, here we have this artisan's profile, Abdul Salim and Sons, or this profile. I have just opened this because this is relatively more complete. So it will give you a sense. So they can come directly onto the product, they can come directly onto a category page, or they can come directly onto Indian Business Portal, or if they are familiar with Indian Business Portal, they can come here. So whatever the source may be, they will come here, which is your profile. Now, this is the profile of a business I personally know. So I've opened their profile and I knew that it is relatively complete. That's why I'm showing this to you. But this is where uh, imagine that I wanted to import or I was looking for Indian ethnic wear, and that's why I was looking for a supplier. I came across this product on Indian Business Portal. It looks like a very nice product, very nicely elaborated and explained. I would want to know who is the supplier, and that's where you can see the supplier is there, so I can very quickly access their profile, and this is where I can see their profile, I can see their product. Now the first thing which I see as an international buyer once I've opened their profile is their product catalog. It is not taking them to the about us, it is taking them to the product catalog, and it is done for a reason is that generally buyers would want to see what else do you have. They have found you through a product, but they would want to know like what else do you have. That's where it comes to the catalog, and that's where okay, they also have handbags. Okay, they also have saris. Okay, they also have suits. That's where you can see the what do you call I can see more product. I can see and find that, okay, they have more products, and then I can do that selection. Okay, I was looking for 5 items and they happen to have all 5 of them. So very nice. I have found someone who can fulfill all my requirements. Now, I have at least found someone who can fulfill my requirement. Now, I would want to understand more about them. That's where to answer that question, if they come to about us, that's where you have all the details about that business. When was it established? Which are the countries they have already exported to? So all that information is here for them to consume. They don't have to go anywhere, or in fact, even use an AI tool. It is there on their fingertips. So that information is easily available, so they can get an answer to that question right away. In addition to that, this is where you can see the certificates are there, and they have added one certificate, but you can add as many certificates as possible, and that will give credibility and trust to your business. So that is very important, because knowing that business and that uncertainty is always associated with anything that we are doing online. There is always that thought whether this business is genuine or not. And that's where, as genuine business owners, we have to do these additional steps, that we have to display all our certifications, etc., to appear genuine and trustworthy. Obviously, this will help, but in addition to that, this is very important. Now, that question about who this business is and whether they are genuine or not, that is answered, right? Now comes the transaction part. How will they move ahead to, obviously, this is a B2B transaction, so it is not like they'll do a add to cart and place an order. They will be connecting with you. How will they connect with you? So for that, we have a request meeting. This is a very popular option these days. They will be requesting a meeting. A lot of times when I'm interacting in person with business owners, they firstly get excited, and after a moment, they become anxious. Excited, obviously, wow, international buyer will be scheduling a meeting with me. How nice it is. And then the thought comes to their head, how will I know that a meeting is scheduled? I can imagine that question must be there in your head as well. And how will I know? So, firstly, let me clarify, it is requesting a meeting. It is not like they're scheduling a meeting, they are requesting, hey, are you available to connect on Friday at 3 p.m.? Like that. If you are available, well and good. You can have that meeting, you can confirm. If you are not available, you can propose a different time. But the question still remains unanswered, like, how will I know? So, whenever a request meeting is initiated by a buyer, you will get a email notification. Now, the counter question or thought is that email often gets overlooked. Every one of us receives hundreds of emails every day, promotional, etc., etc. And a lot of time we overlook those emails. So in that case, I will end up losing a big opportunity. I'll end up losing sale. That again makes you more anxious and worried. No, there are backups to that. Now, one very simple but foolproof thing that I would encourage all of you to do, that is download GlobalLinker mobile app. It is available in both Android and iOS. You can simply download it and turn on the notification. Don't turn off, turn on, switch on the notification. So whenever there is some sort of a request, whether coming from Indian Business Portal or Global Income Marketplace or anyone else wanting to chat with you, you will get that notification. And why it is also important, a lot of times it is not available here, but on Global Linker, and I may have that open very quickly. Sorry, I am taking you to off the track, but I feel it is important. So I may have all of you will have a similar type of profile. Now, here you can see send inquiry, or if I open one of their product, let's open Maze. So you have send inquiry. Now, this profile is in there on Google also, and a lot of people who are looking for you may find you here, or they may find you here. So depending on like wherever they land, but if they initiate a chat with you, that's where they are literally chatting to you how we chat on WhatsApp. Similar to that. In fact, you'll find the interface also very similar to that. So that's where you are talking to a potential buyer directly. And would you want to miss on that? No, absolutely not. You will not want to miss on that. So that's where I strongly recommend that all of you should download the Global Income mobile application. So if there's a chat with the buyer, you'll not miss it. If there's a notification, if someone has requested for a meeting with you, you will not miss that through that. So it's a fail-proof thing that you can do. Another place where you can go. So if you uh, see, this is where I've now taken you to the control panel of the website that you can make. So on the control panel, you have this section called My Meetings, and that's where you can see all the meetings which are scheduled. By the way, this is a dummy account. It's not a genuine business. So that's why you're not seeing any meeting schedule, but on your business, you will see them. So this is another place where you have. So if you are feeling like, okay, application is still, but still, if I miss on notification, that's the place you can go. You can make it a practice every week. I will go to that section, this section, which I was showing you, and check if there is anything I may have missed accidentally, right? So all your anxiety is answered now. Now, the second process, and which is second most popular, I would say, is contact seller, which you are seeing here. So contact seller is wherein you will get their contact details. So it is not like it will initiate a phone call to you, not like that. So it will trigger a request to you that this is a buyer who wants to connect with you. So you will get their name, their organization name, their designation, their country, which category they are wanting to, and their contact information, email, etc. All that information you will receive. Now, again, how will I know? So email plus notification in a mobile app, and you will get so it they are also logged. So there's a dedicated place where they are logged. So this is where you can see these are logged contact requests which are there. So you can see them. Not registered, sorry, wrong place. This is the section contact us, and this is where it is. At this moment no one has done that, but you will find them. So that's the second method. Now, on the GlobalLinker ecosystem, you have two options. One option is that you just list the products on Indian Business Portal. Sorry, you just list the product and you will get a profile. I showed you this is also a business similar to yours, and they're also an exporter. So similar to this, you can create a profile, you can list a product, and that is the first level. Now you also have an option to take it to the next level, and you can have a full-fledged AI ready website also. And these are many, many exporters who have done that. So that's the second level of digitization that you can achieve with. Now, if you have created these websites like this particular business has also created a website. So you will get this visit store option, and the buyers can also go to your website and they can see your offerings and they can directly contact you as well. And it also happens. It is not like it hasn't happened. A lot of businesses have received inquiries through that, wherein people visited their website and they found their contact details and they contacted them directly. So if you create that website, then it will be also linked here. If you don't create the website, I was showing you that profile. Okay, so there are many businesses who haven't created the profile, so that's where you will not see. So let's see if they have that or they don't. Okay, they also have a store. Let's look for rice. I'm just randomly opening. I am not sure whether they have created or not. They have also, so it looks like many of them have created, but you will not have. If you are not getting the website page, then, or not creating the website, then you'll not have the visit store option. You will have contact seller and request meeting will be there. So that's how the business is done. Now, very quickly, I'll move on to the third topic, and which is very simple and easy. That is how to list your products on Indian Business Portal. The first step is obvious and simple, that you have to come to Indian Business Portal. And while you are here, you will see there's an option which says sell on Indian Business Portal, register as Indian exporter. You have to just click on that and it will take you to the next screen. On this next screen, you'll see there are two buttons which say the same thing. Create your catalog, create your catalog. So you can click on any one of them. You can click there or you click here and it will take you to the setup process. So this is a 5-step process. Very, very easy. You have to just add in your business detail. Yes, you will have to do a GST verification, which is not just typing your GST number. You will type in your GST number, and after that, the system will fetch the contact information which is there in the Government of India's database, and it will be displayed to you. So you will have to get an OTP on one of that number or email and do an OTP verification, and after that you can uh, complete the process. It will hardly take you 5 minutes. Now, once you have completed the process, you will arrive at a place something similar to this, and there's a live account that I'm showing to you. It is just it is a hypothetical business, a live but hypothetical business. So this is where you have these things on the site, right? You have catalog, orders, promotion, etc., etc., etc. Now here, the first thing that you have to do after you have signed up is to upload your product. Now you can do that one by one. If you don't have a lot of products, if you have large catalog, do that in bulk. And once you have uploaded the product, and you can use AI also in case you have Premium Plus, you'll be able to do in this account. We have created the website, so that's why it will take me to the website. So upload the products. The point is, after you have signed up, upload the products. Once you have uploaded the products, here you will see Indian Business Portal. You have to click on that and it will open a 3-stage process. This is stage one, and which is where you have this form. So you have to fill this form. It is a relatively easy form, but a very important one. So for a moment, if I take you back to Indian Business Portal and I take you to one of the profiles, this about information or all this information is coming from this form. So it is very important, because if you are not detailed here, the information there will not be very rich or very impressive. So are you a FIEO member? Yes, no. And you have to import and verify your IC code, and it will get verified through a DGFT's API. Then you have type of business, sole proprietorship, partnership, public limited, etc., etc. Then you have years of establishment. So when did you started your business? So what type of exporter are you? Merchant exporter, manufacturer exporter, or both? You can select that, or a service provider. Are you an MSME? Yes, no. Export turnover of previous 3 years. And in case you are a startup, then you can select $10,000, less than $10,000. Countries you have already exported to, this is optional. So in case you haven't exported to any country, you can leave it blank. Countries you would like to export to, that's where again you can share your preferences. Now, this is very important, because this is something which is not just asked randomly, like countries would you like to export to? Hmm. I've seen people select like all 200 of them. No, because whenever there is a request from one of the ministries to send a trade delegation to a specific country, FIEO would want to know whom should they approach. That's why it is here. So do that intelligently, put some thoughts behind it. Now, number of employees, so you can just do that. License and certificate is very, very important. You should do that. And then advantage innovation is where you have to talk about yourself, like why should they be doing business with you, and then what type of proposal you are interested in. Click on save, and you will be sent to the stage number two. This is very simple. Here, firstly, you have to do the product mapping. So come here, select a category. Now, for example, chemicals, and let's say agrochemical ingredients. Hypothetically, I'm doing that, but in your case, do it sensibly. You select the category and then you can click on save, and the category will get updated. In fact, let's do that. So we will change to chemicals and we will change to agrochemicals, and we'll click on save. And here you can see it has changed. Now, once the category is changed, then you have to click on this button and it will list the products on Indian Business Portal. So do that. Now you can do that in bulk also. It is not like you have 200 products and you have to do this activity 200 times. No, you can select them, or you can select through these buttons, and you can select update category. You can update them in bulk, you can list them in bulk, or you can unlist them in bulk. All the options are there and you can do that. In fact, if you want to edit the product, that option is also there. Now, once you are done with this, you have to ensure the category is mapped and it is mapped correctly. And this is also mapped, or this is enabled if this is switched off. So for example, if it is not on, it is not blue, then the product is not listed on Indian Business Portal. So please do ensure that. And lastly, you have to submit request, which is a simple form. You have to just agree to the terms, click on button, and it goes away. Now, once this request is submitted, it will take about 2 to 3 working days, ideally 1 to 2 working days. On the weekends, you can imagine it may take, because there's a lot of load that comes. So that's where there may be exception, but generally 1 to 2 days, your request gets reviewed and approved, and your products will start appearing on Indian Business Portal. All right. Now, before I turn off the screen share, I would want to share with you that as a practice, what should you be doing in addition, right? So listing is one, and I can even now take you to Indian Business Portal and show you products which are quite poorly listed. So, firstly, when you're doing this, do it with enthusiasm, not as a punishment, like someone has literally forced you to list a product. Obviously, you want to generate business. That's where add details, add information, because otherwise, uh, you will not get anything. You will just be doing the thing for the sake of it. And we know things which are done for the sake of it does not lead anyone anywhere. So add the information in detail. Now, once that is done, I would but encourage you that you should come here and see for yourself whether the products are appearing or not. It may take like this request is approved. It may take like 1 or 1.5 hour. Don't expect like immediately it will start appearing. There's a time lag in between, but after 1 or 2 hours, they will be visible here. To just come, check your profile, go to your profile and check all the products. I showed you profile. So just open one of your products. You can search by your name, business name also, and it will appear. Go to your profile, see all products are there or not. Open the product and see if the information is there or not, right? So see what information you have added. Is it appearing properly? Are the images appearing properly? Is the title appearing properly? If there is any HS code mismatch, etc. So just go through that, all of it. Just ensure all the products are there. Once that is done, go to this section, ensure that is also appearing. Ensure your certificates are also appearing. Do all that check. So that is important that you are doing all that check. Now, after you have done that, also check if your products are appearing in the search. So search for few of your product and see where they are appearing. Now, if there are products who are appearing above you, also look at them and see and compare them with your product, and you will be able to understand where the gaps is, what better they have done, what needs improvement. In fact, you can leverage AI. In fact, now even in your browser, you have AI. So leverage that, but keep making these improvements so that you get a better result from all this effort that you are going to put. Another suggestion is to regularly look at your dashboard. So log into your dashboard. These numbers don't get confused. These are for the global income marketplace, but regularly log into your account and see if there are any inquiries or orders that you have received. So here in the chat, you will see the chat which is initiated, and then you will also see the inquiries and orders which are there. So if there are any inquiries, etc., you don't get miss them, etc. So like that, this is where you can see all the inquiries. So this is a regular practice. I'm not saying that you do it daily, whatever is convenient, every alternate day, or do it at least once in a week. But that's my personal suggestion. Otherwise, it like someone sent you an inquiry on Monday, it is still okay that you reply by Friday or Saturday, but it will not be like the next week you're replying, or possibly even that is late in today's time, because the pace at which we now operate is very rapid. So ideally, it will be better that you respond the same day, but doing it a little later is better than not doing it at all. So do actively keep looking into it. Yes, there are notifications that are there, but it is always better to have a in-person look as well. All right. So this is where I will now turn off the screen share and we will break into a question answer round. So if you have already not added your question, now I am assuming you have already submitted your websites for the review. So I am now going to close the poll in 1 or 2 minutes. So this is where I'm giving little time to everyone who has not added their websites yet. And now we will quickly start looking into the question answers. So if you have already not added your question, there are 11 questions that I can see in the Q&A. So if you have not added them by now, please do add them. And okay, so so the first question is uh, by Mr. Shikhar Rastogi. And Shikharji, his question was starting a business is easy, but getting buyers is difficult. So embassy is something that he has tried. So he was asking what are the other options. So I would uh, encourage you that you should try leveraging Indian Business Portal. Other than that, there are AI tools that you can also use. There are dedicated AI tools like Apollo that you can consider using, but it is little expensive. You can even use ChatGPT and Gemini for research and finding buyers, and it can do that. And if you drop me an email, I'll share a prompt with you personally, which you can use for finding buyers. And that offer is for everyone, so not just for Shikharji. So if you drop me an email, I will give you a prompt that you can use for with ChatGPT or Gemini too, or even with Claude or Perplexity. It's a simple prompt that you can use. All right, now I'm moving to the next question. Now, the sixth question is from Arpita, and her question was that for Indian Business Portal, should they be going with the base plan, which is free of cost, or they should be opting for the paid plan? Now, listing on Indian Business Portal, as I already told you, is free. So if you just want to list on Indian Business Portal, that is absolutely free. But the paid plan has its own advantages also, that you can list more products and you get AI tools that are embedded in the platform. You also have access to the other marketplace that we operate, the Global Income Marketplace. So you have access to that as well, and you'll be able to review and quote there as well. So obviously, yes, a paid plan gives you a more flexibility and advantages as compared to the free version. The next question is from Sairam, and the question is a little unclear. He has just written need for both import and export. So, is it a statement or is it a question? I am not clear on that. So, Mr. Sairam, I would request if you can uh, let me know, or you can share more details about your question. That will help us. Okay, Deepika ji, I believe I had done the review of your website and I'd shared with you the observation. I'm not sure if you had a chance to review it. So, next question is from Reshma. And Reshma ji, firstly, the link that you have provided is of the control panel. The seller.linker.store is the control panel link. It is not the link of your store. So, if I would encourage you that you send me an email with the details of your business, and I'll investigate and I'll find out, and I will tell you where the areas of improvements are. So I will quickly share my email ID, and this is something which I'm sharing not just with Reshma ji, this is with everyone. So, in fact, all my contact details are there. So I've just chatted it. I am also sharing my contact details with you, Reshma ji, through a private message. So you'll get that. So, okay, I've also shared my contact number. Reshma ji, you have that. Next question is from Mr. Kapil, and his question is: can the products which are there on another directly listing website can then be imported? Yes, they can be as part of our paid service. Yes, they can be imported. Okay, so there's a question I'm parking, and if time permitted, I will answer that in little more uh, detail, and that question is from Mr. Amit. So let me see if we have time because we have overshot our time. So I'm being little conscious of that. So the next question is from Bhagesh. And the question is about Indian Business Portal. So, Bhagesh, I'm not sure if you were there in the earlier part of my presentation. So, Indian Business Portal is jointly created by FIEO and GlobalLinker. So, it's a joint collaboration, you can say, jointly created by two organizations. Both of them have significant interest in the growth and betterment of SMEs. Next question, anonymous attendee. The question is, I've already registered and created an account on GlobalLinker. Do I have to register again on Indian Business Portal? The answer is no. You have to just register once, and that's the beauty of the ecosystem. And that's why we call it ecosystem, because it is all interconnected. It is not like you have to do the same thing twice. You upload a product and it is visible on Indian business portal, it is visible on GlobalLinker marketplace, it is visible on your own website, multiple places, same product, one place, management. ONDC also, that's the fourth place. It goes to ONDC also in case you're a B2C seller. Next question, a interesting one, and again, I'll try not to be very detailed in the response. And his question is, and the question is from Mr. Amit Verma. The question is, what are the suggestions from my side to be successful on this portal? First is content. That's where many businesses I see, they are very conservative in sharing in the information, right? So I am not sure what the assumption is. And I personally interacted with a few businesses, and that's why I learned that they believe that the buyers are international buyers and they are an expert in the product, so they don't need details. But that's where the irony is, to find you, they need details, right? So you have to be very detailed, as detailed as possible when it comes to the product. Second is your profile. Finding a product is one thing, but unless that person is sure about you, they are confident about you, they are not going to move ahead. Profile, extremely important, that you should be updating. Third is consistency, which is that you should be regularly logging in, regularly promptly responding, promptly replying to the inquiry. That's where it sends the signals to the business, to the system, that you are an active seller. And obviously, active sellers are given preference, they are given a priority. It will be absolutely unintelligent and stupid on our part if we are pushing the inquiries and lead to a seller who is inactive, and there's no visibility when that person will come back and respond to the inquiries. Obviously, system will prioritize the active ones. So being active on the platform is also very, very important. So these were the suggestions. There are other things I can talk for a day on this topic, but that's top three suggestions that I would want to share with you. Next question is from Mr. Subhadeep, and the question is, what is the registration cost? Listing on Indian Business Portal is absolutely free, as I have told quite a few times already, but there are paid options also available. So if you want to avail of those features and capabilities, that's where you can upgrade. Next question is from Naresh, and the question is, Indian Business Portal and GlobalLinker, are they different? So the technology is the system. The parent technology organization for both GlobalLinker and Indian Business Portal is GlobalLinker. So technology ecosystem is the same, but the approach and positioning are different. Indian Business Portal is a B2B marketplace for export. So it is exclusively for export. So there's no domestic transaction or anything that happens there. GlobalLinker, on the other hand, is a B2B cross-border sourcing platform where domestic as well as international B2B sourcing happens. And there are even large organizations, public listed companies, because in India there's a mandate that all public listed companies should source 30% of their raw material from SMEs. So they also collaborate with GlobalLinker and they source through GlobalLinker. So there's domestic as well as international action happening on the GlobalLinker marketplace, and Indian Business Portal is exclusively international. All right. So I hope that clarifies. All right. So next is how to quote price for the product. Now, if you are on Indian Business Portal, you don't have to essentially quote a price. Uh, the customer will connect with you. You can show price on request, and once you have understood their requirement, that's where you can quote the price. All right. So the next question is an interesting one as well. That is about certificates. So the question is anonymous attendee, but the question is, uh, should the certificate be uploaded as is, or certain details should be camouflaged? So if there are privacy concerns, yes, you can camouflage certain details, but the intention is to present ourselves as a genuine organization. So you can take a decision on that. Next question, again, interesting one, and that's from Naresh. And his question is it sufficient to publish the product on GlobalLinker Marketplace or Indian Business Portal? No, I would recommend that you should be publishing your product at both the places. In fact, if you create a website, then you'll get a three places. But if you are not doing that, if you are just wanting to list on marketplaces, then you should be listing on Indian Business Portal and GlobalLinker Marketplace, both the places. Otherwise, you will be missing out. You don't have to upload that product once. So, for example, if you deal in rice, you don't have to upload rice two times. You have to just upload it one time, but you can list at two places. Yes. So that is something. Otherwise, you are missing out on a lot of action if you do that. So next question is from Kishan. He's asking for my email ID. I have shared that. I will do that once again. So in the chat, it is there. In fact, I've also added a link to directly send me a WhatsApp message. And I will share it with you through a private message as well. So let's do that. Next question is from Mr. Anand Kumar, and the question is: can we create the website for free, or do we have to upgrade? No, creating a website is a paid feature, and even in that, there are two options. One is you enable the feature and you create the website yourself. In case you are a tech savvy individual, you have time, you can do that. We also provide a option wherein our team creates the website, and that's where it is fully optimized for AI understandability. I told that AI story, so we have to become ready, and that's where we realize there is a huge gap because most of the websites are not ready for AI. So we create AI ready websites. So that option is also there, but both of them are paid options. Next question is from Mr. Shoaib Ali, and the question is that there are no categories for furniture. I believe there are categories for furniture, Mr. Shoaib, and this is where I'm not just responding to him. I'm responding to all of you that if you feel there are more than 4,500 categories on Indian Business Portal, but again, it is not the universe. So if you feel that there are categories which are not there, you can drop an email. So I've just chatted to you, and it is there in the comment chat as well. The email ID of our help desk. So you can just drop an email. And Mr. Shadab, I would request you as well to drop an email to our help desk, and we will share with you where that category is. Or if it is not there, we will add that category. That's not a problem. We will be happy to do that. So next, Mr. Suresh has also requested for my contact details, so I have added them. Next question is from Mr. Shubham, and he's facing some challenges in converting. So, Shubham ji, uh, reading your question, I am not getting enough details, so I think it will be better. And because Mukesh ji or his colleagues will be much better to help you in this. So, I would recommend that you drop an email on ibp@fio.org. I'm sharing that email ID in the chat with you. And I'm also sharing it with everyone here in the comment chat. So you can drop an email to him and he will connect with you and he'll guide you. Next question, and I think this is related once again with the subscription. So Listing on Indian business portal is absolutely free, but if you want to have the paid feature, if you want to utilize the paid feature, that's where you'll have to upgrade. All right. So the next question is from Gemin. And the question is, as a merchant exporter, should we be providing our supplier support? Not essentially. The objective of that certification section is to present yourself as a genuine organization, right? So that's where you don't have to present other certificates. But if you're in a conversation with a buyer and the buyer ask you that, okay, you're supplying these products, what are the certifications of the manufacturers, etc. In that case, you can bring in those. But this is where your basic certifications like GST, ICs, etc., whatever you have, those should suffice. You don't have to bring everything. All right. So next question is from Devrata, and the question is: after uploading the product, there are two options: publish and list on Indian Business Portal. You have to publish is basically by default. You'll notice the products are already published. The moment you'll upload it, they are published. But you can unpublish them. Unpublish basically means deactivating them. You don't have to delete the product. You can deactivate them, switch them off. So that's by default you have to list on Indian Business Portal, and that can be done manually, but you don't have to do that. If you remember how I showed you, so you can just go to that one section, because in the product catalog management interface, if you have to do one product at a time. It is little cumbersome. That's why we have created the next screen, which I was showing you, one screen where you have all the products, you can map the categories list on. That is way too simple. You can do that from there in matter of minutes. You'll be able to list everything in matter of minutes. So do that from there and ignore these buttons. All right. So next question is from Mr. Vikas Jain, and the question is, which portal is used for making profile uploading catalog? So Vikas ji, go to Indian Business Portal, and there you will see sell on Indian Business Portal, register as Indian exporter. Click on that. In the next screen, you will see there's a page which has create your catalog. Click on it, and then you have to just follow the steps. So you have to start the journey from Indian Business Portal. That's the easiest route. All right. So the next question is from Diptesh, and I hope everyone is okay on the time. We've overshot our time by half an hour. So the Diptesh question is that two of their products are not listed because of some technical issue. So Diptesh, and this is where I'm assuming that once you have uploaded those products, a triangle may have started appearing, and those are flagged by AI. So, what happens? We have this process wherein an AI system looks at all the products which are getting uploaded. That's a fail-safe method, and that AI is programmed to be very strict. Why so? Because it was happening in the past that certain elements were listing counterband products. And to prevent that from happening, we have introduced AI. Now that AI is programmed to be very strict. So that's why what happens that a lot of time it will also block the products which are not actually to be blocked. Now, there is a human review also. So it is not like AI has blocked you and that is the end of it. It doesn't work like that. So there's a human review. So if you wait for a day or two, our team will review your product and it will approve. But still, if you continue to face any difficulty with the product, I would recommend that you drop an email to our help desk and our help desk team will look into it. There's a question by Mr. Anand Kumar. His question is, can we create website store on the free plan? No, you cannot create a website on the free plan. There's number of questions which were repeated, so I am just ignoring them or just skipping them, not ignoring them. Uh, One interesting question that I found is from Mr. John, and his question is: we are rubber product manufacturer. Is it possible to connect with Global Wire? Yes, absolutely. I personally know a business who is into rubber manufacturing based out of Kerala, and they are here with us for many, many years. Yes, certainly you'll be able to get action here. Next question is from Mr. Somnath. He wants to understand more about paid options. So, Mr. Somnath, I would recommend, because this is where we have already overshot our time, and I'm conscious of Mukesh ji and Supriya's time also. So, I would request if we can connect over a one-on-one session in person. I'll be guiding you with all the details. So, just drop an email to me, and I will be happy to connect with you. I am sharing my contact details with you, and we will connect with you. Or you can reply to the email that you will be receiving after the webinar and we can connect. Next question is from Meena ji, and the question is about GlobalLinker. So we are headquartered in Mumbai, so that's from where we started when we have still our HO in Mumbai. All right, so I believe that was the last question, and we have overshot our time by 40 minutes. So, this is where being conscious of the time and not just my time, Mukesh ji's time, and everyone else's time. So, this is where I think we should conclude this session for today. And I hope whatever we have discussed, you have found it useful, informative, and you are going to use that information to expand and grow your business. We are always available to help and guide you. You have our contact details. So if you need any help from FIEO side, please do feel free to reach out to Mukesh ji at IBP at FIEO.org, and you have my contact details as well. So please do feel free to ask for help, and we will be more than happy to connect and guide you. And with this note, I am concluding the session for today. Thank you everyone for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
all
you.
of you.
Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Wonderful.
Bye.